Howdy folks. So we are going to do a little walkthrough of my Star Citizen account. What ships I have, maybe a little subscriber flare, I don't know. If I see anything interesting, I'll shout it out, right? And we're not going to get into any of my ROMs, but we may look at my buyback pledges. I've got some oddball stuff in there, odd situations, right? But let's run through the current fleet because I have a feeling that in the next 6 months, my fleet is going to change drastically, shall we say. Certain things are actively on the chopping block, but I will discuss why they're not already gone. So, for now, we're not even going to change it to just ships. We're going to leave it as all. Now, we have my Mark II Hornet. This is a ship that I just pledged for. It was a melt and, buy it with store credit. I have not bought anything new with actual real money in quite a while. Now, I have not done much of anything with this ship yet. I liked it. The little bit I flew it. I don't know that it's sticking around. $175 is a lot of money, and I am not really a big dog fighter. That's really not my main thing in game. I do some bounty missions, but honestly, I mostly can do what I do in like a Zeus, a constellation. So I'm not super motivated to keep $175. My philosophy is that this is the kind of ship I can buy in game. It is inexpensive enough that, hey, I want XYZ as a smaller ship, fighters, small utility ships, right? You make money in game with your bigger ships, and you sell things and you buy little ships. So that is my thought process on that. The next thing is my old Scarlet Edition X1. This has been turned into a Zeus Mark II CL. I am really liking the Zeus. I think that there's definitely, they need to, how to put this? It clarified some flaws in the current hauling mission situation. If you don't have the CL version, I think that's a different issue. But if this is a cargo version, cargo missions should not be broken for it. And currently, when you take a medium cargo mission, it maxes you out on 8 SCU boxes. CL doesn't do 8 SCU boxes very well. It's a very inefficient design for that. So either fine-tune the design, which I don't think they really should do. I don't think they should redo the design. I'm just clarifying that. They need to fix the missions so that we can tell it how many 8 SCU boxes we want on a medium mission. And then there will have to be an equivalent on a large mission. Now, other than that, I like the ship. I like how she flies. I think that the 2 size 4 guns the pilot has is perfectly reasonable. I think that this is a ship where they got the balance out of the box pretty good. It definitely needs a better power plant if you were going to do combat with it. Or you need to change out those guns to ballistics. It runs very short on power trying to run things, but that's fine. The stock ship doesn't need to be all maxed out, right? Give you somewhere to progress with. The next one, Corsair. I like the idea. The execution and the current in-game balance leaves me cold. The Corsair is probably going away for me. It's a 250 credit. Yeah, $250 credit. They can go away. Maybe that's a Star Lancer Max. Maybe this gets added to, as credits on another ship that we will talk about and turns into a Polaris just for giggles. I don't personally have much use for Polaris, but hey, I don't have anything else in that size category really. Okay, moving on. My poor little Aurora ES that turned into a Constellation Taurus. For a ship that I only have 6-month insurance on and is in a self-land hangar, I use this thing a ton. I absolutely love my Taurus. I probably use it 50% of the time. If I'm running cargo missions, if I am running bounty missions. Odds are good. I'm in my constellation Taurus. I've upgraded it to be using dead shots. I like the ship. I really get a lot of use out of it. I don't want something bigger unless I want something much bigger. Is kind of where I stand. Right now, I have the Taurus, and my next up cargo ship is my loaner for this merchantman. We're moving on now. Is a C2. The C2 is much bigger, takes up way more space in the hangar, is way more awkward to find places to land, but she holds a lot of cargo. She flies okay. Not a big deal, right? You can stack several medium missions, no sweat. I'm sure if I get to large missions, I have not done so yet, but if I do, no sweat, right? The actual merchantman, I kind of don't have a role for anymore. That's a ship where I'm like, that's not how I have time to play the game anymore. However, we're going to talk about our first real problem, and that is this. But I'm only going to get $250 for it. So really not motivated to melt that. Now, what do I turn it into? I don't know, because here's my problem. I kind of like that C2. If I'm getting rid of the C2 loaner, I need another cargo ship. So I look at this and I go, what really big expensive ship can I switch to? And I don't know yet, because if I go to ship upgrades, there ain't shit. CitizenCon 2952 digital goodies. Don't remember buying those. Cute. Grenade launcher, a little jumpsuit, plushie. And my Cutlass Black. What kind of insurance do I have on my Cutlass Black? 6 months. Okay. Didn't do anything fancy. Cutlass Black, one of my favorite ships in game. Just a great utility ship. The only thing I might consider is swapping my black for a red, but I currently have a red as a loaner. I do like having the med beds. I use it when I'm doing FPS content and when I have a quick place to heal up. If I don't get a tier 1 injury, I am back in the action quickly and easily, and no muss, no fuss kind of thing. Going back another year here, we're at a subscriber 300 million money raised reward. You can see here, 2020, okay, we're about 7 years in, October 2020, they had raised 300 million. They're over 700 million now. So clearly, anybody who's like, oh, they're gonna die out, they're not getting enough money, blah blah blah. Look, they raised more money in the last 4 years than they raised in the first 7. On to another ship. The Vulture, definitely a good ship. You can see I have it as one of my LTIs. I specifically have bought the Archimedes as an LTI token. The Vulture is the shit. Absolutely should have the Vulture. If you are playing regularly, salvage is one of those mission loops that pays well and will probably always pay decently. Right now, it isn't great. It isn't absolutely spectacular like it had been. Still good. Yeah. They made 100 million in 2018. It's only going up faster, guys. High Admiral Award. I got my top hat. I got my monocle. I got my pistol. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that. So even if I got rid of my game package, getting to High Admiral, concierge level, gives me the game. Interesting. Okay, good to know. My fuel pod for my Endeavor, more armor. CitizenCon weapon, trophy, and a jacket. More armor. I have my UE land license. I don't know how much value these are going to have in the long distance future, because it sure sounds like they're making this less and less of a big thing, right? They're making it so like, hey, you just pay your taxes, right? Well, hopefully this gets me out of having to pay the damn taxes, because I gave you $100 to claim a land parcel. But we'll see. My Carrack. It is a nameable Carrack. Here's the problem. And originally it was an Anvil Hawk. It is LTI. Is what it is, right? Here's the problem. $270. I can't melt it, guys. I can't melt it. It'd be stupid, right? So again, just like the Banu Merchantman, what do I turn it into? The way I play now, the Carrack is of questionable value. everything where I'm like, oh, the Carrack would be great. A Caterpillar would work. The Zeus would probably work. The value for the Carrack for me was the exploration gameplay, and back when I had more time to work with a group of people doing exploration. Nowadays, my schedule is a mess. I don't have time to sit there and play with a bunch of people. The Carrack is a very questionable value to me. That is a ship that the game loop that you're making use of that with is not short, right? It's just not. It is definitely on my list that this is getting turned into something. And then we have my Endeavor. Talking of stupidly expensive to operate, overpriced stupidity. I did buy the add-on pack for CitizenCon 2947, the blue Castac Custodian SMG. I thought it just looked cool. I liked the idea of having the eyeball color. I was willing to pay for it. How much did I pay? $5, yeah. That was back before Star Citizen, CIG got real greedy on that kind of stuff. My Terrapin, which was originally a Nox, as a token, LTI. I like my Terrapin. I'm kind of on the fence about whether I turn that into a med pen, if that ever becomes a real thing. But, I mostly have time to play solo. And having a solo sneak and peek kind of ship, I'm not sure I really consider the Terrapin exploration so much as a scout ship. But my org is very big, very active in things that are possibly going to need us to have scouts. And maybe that's a good way for me to contribute, right? So here's my package. This is not my original package. My original package was the Bounty Hunter package. But this was a Valentine's Day deal. And I was shuffling equipment. So Dragonfly Black, some starter money, the game, right, is what it is. But how much can I get for that? $60. Because I no longer need it, right? I already have the game through my concierge class. So that's $60 in credit that I could put towards something else, right? Tears of Fire painting, Revenant Tree, more upgrades. Getting into some higher dollar upgrades, Endeavor to Crucible, but I could do Endeavor to Crucible to Reclaimer, right? And I can turn into a Hull D. How much is a freaking Hull D? Right. So I can turn my Endeavor into a Hull D, which is worth $550. I mean, I can go straight to a Carrack, guys, right? I can go straight from my Endeavor to a Carrack. But then it traps me yet again in a big ship where just even higher value, what do you turn it into, right? What do you do with it? I mean, remember this back in the day? This was a $0 conversion. Merchantman to Warden. To a Vanguard Warden. Talk about useless. Merchantman to Redeemer. However, there's one for you. A Redeemer to a Merchantman. Gladiator to Super Hornet. 2016 Holiday Reward. The old War Bond. And then the Stretch Goal Rewards. Backer Reward from 2014. And my Towel from 2014 in May. Caterpillar to Crucible. Endeavor to 600. I mean, that's a swap that I could do. A Talon. I, at one point, had a Talon. Buyback on that is probably not crazy. $100, right? $100 for a Asperia Talon. Hard to beat, guys. 600i combo pack. Holy shit. Right? Both 600i's. A G12, an X1, and lifetime insurance. $835. I bought it and promptly melted it and redid it, individually, but I bought it specifically to have the option in the future because this was my original pledge. Is it? Yes. So I bought this back various times. That's why the date is funky. But that was my original pledge, was the Bounty Hunter pack, the digital Bounty Hunter pack. To be young and naive again when it comes to Star Citizen. So that kind of gives you an overview. That's where I'm at on my fleet, but I make use of my Vulture, my Zeus, my Taurus, and honestly lately my Cutlass Red. the most, the absolute most. The C2, I'm doing cargo missions. If I do, bigger ones and I stack them up. But I like the smaller, more nimble ships. Not necessarily small, but just, hey, if I make a little less money, but I enjoy it more flying the Zeus or the Taurus versus the C2, I'd rather do that. One run with the C2 versus 3 or 4 runs done a little more quickly. I would rather do more runs a little more quickly each. And hey, if I make 30% less money in that time, that play session, I'm okay with that. I am not a rich player in game. I think I have like 2 million credits right now. I missed out on most of the easy credits stuff. Um, and I mean, yeah, I could do big drug runs and stuff. I get bored with it. Most of that stuff, it's like you do it because you want the money. I don't need the extra credits. I view this as an alpha. Shit gets wiped. Me spending time in game and doing something I don't want to do to make credits to buy ships that are going to eventually go away, meh, I don't care. I own ships that I enjoy playing. I don't need to, make a bunch of credits to go buy them. If I want a different ship, I'll melt something and buy that ship. There is, for all intents and purposes, not a ship in game, and I mean that literally in game, not in concept, that I can't fly because I can melt something and buy it and not worry about it. So there's not a big deal to me that, hey, I got to make money to to get that ship. I'm in a weird situation because I don't want the bigger ship. Most guys are like chasing that big ship. I really have no interest. I want to go the other way. To me, a Taurus is plenty big. A C2 as big as I need. An M2 big as I need, right? An M2 to me would be great because if I want to go build myself a little out of the way base, staging ground, home site, I'm betting that I can do that right out of my M2. If I had an M2, I can park some vehicles in it. I can load up a bunch of gear in the ship itself without using storage in the cargo area. And then 500 plus SCU of cargo, I think it's highly unlikely if I preload the vehicles that are getting parked in it, I think it's highly unlikely that that won't let me build a functional little homestead. And if it does, if it's not big enough, I can make a second trip, right? Or hey, you know, org member, can you bring another one with you? So yeah, that's where I'm at. We will see if I do more Star Citizen content. This was very long, very, very involved, but just throwing it out there. This channel has had basically no content, so we'll see if some Star Citizen content gets any interest. Take care, have fun, fly safe, everybody.